Hello? Okay. We had small difficulties in the beginning. My microphone was not working, but I was able to fix it quick. My name is Praios. I'm a professional gambler. Today we want to talk about how you could at best improve your poker game and your poker skills. And yeah, topic would be coaches mainly. And I hope that the desktop audio would work. Let me test it. By what? Start this. See if.
So three-bet monkey poker, Jonathan Augustus, and helpful guy.
Okay, it's working, and yeah, we will again watch the Galfond. He's a great guy. He's a very good poker player, and yeah, I want to see what he has to say about coaches, and then I will also give my commentary.
I'll ask you about finding the right coach.
So finding the right coach can be challenging, and it's really important because you're going to be putting trust in this coach to analyze your game and to lead you down a path to improve.
I wonder if he was getting coaching at any point of his career. Maybe he will mention that. We'll see.
And if you put your trust in somebody who is either, not a very good player, not good at explaining concepts, even if they are a good player, or is somebody that doesn't really care about your progress, you end up, not just potentially wasting time and money, but regressing or being led down a path for a long time where you're given false confidence.
Yeah, definitely true. Good players are not necessarily good coaches. I also think most of them charge insane rates, so that you probably should not get a coaching deal with most people. And yeah, often the public thinks different about guys than most of the pros. So in the eye of the public, many guys are good poker players, although if you are into the scene and know a lot of the game about the game, and these dudes might be fishes for you. So one example would be Tom Dwan back in the day. He's always, if on TV, he's always celebrated as a great player, loose guy, always winning, fun to play with, blah. But I think in the first days he probably was profitable, but yeah, later he's also not playing online anymore. And even 10 years ago or something, he was not profitable anymore. I mean, he lost so much to Isildur, and especially his 6-max style was so bad, he played it like heads up, and that's obviously not gonna work out. I mean, I was always very blessed and very happy if I could play with him. I mean, if it was a table full of racks and I would play the game. So that's just one example of a guy who is perceived to be a great player, but who actually wasn't. I think he improved a lot if you see his TV appearances now, but back in the day, he just wasn't great. And there are more examples of players like this.
In a strategy that is not very good. So the cost can be costly. I think that first and foremost, if you can find a way to verify their results. Obviously, if somebody's just sending you their results, there's not really a way that you can be sure that they're accurate. But if you can find a coach who is somewhat known in poker circles, somewhat trusted, and some people are public about their win-loss records. Some people play in games that are tracked or play in games that you could at least have some idea of whether the results that they're telling you they have are ballpark accurate or not. That would be ideal. And I think, so first and foremost, you want a winning player to be your coach, which kind of goes without saying.
I think even that is not necessarily true. I know at least one guy who is great in poker theory and who also does great analyses, but he is not a good player himself. It's just because he is old already and he needs time to think about stuff. And in an online poker environment, you just have like a few seconds. So I think, I mean, that's probably an exception, but there could be good coaches that are not winning player. But but he's sort of right, because this is probably a good criteria to select your coach. But yeah, there are still exceptions to his rule.
But it's the first thing I would look for. The next thing is, I think it's beneficial to hire somebody who makes training videos. First of all, because generally they're vetted by a training site for their results and for their ability to communicate concepts.
I think that's not necessarily true, because these guys are usually way more expensive than other guys that could do the job as well. And I think this is just good advice if they make good training videos. I mean, most of the training videos are just crap, to be honest. And what does it help if you engage such a dude at high cost if his training videos are already rubbish? So yeah, watch his training videos first, and if you are compatible with his style and get a lot out of his videos, you can think about engaging the dude.
But secondly, through watching their videos, you can get an idea of their teaching style and how well it fits with your learning style.
It's true.
I think, just myself as a video watcher, I like to learn from people who are, I'm talking about the types of training videos I want, but it does translate to the kind of coaching. So I prefer coaches who would review actual hands and sessions and talk, or potentially live play videos where they talk about their strategy as they're making decisions. I think that a lot of coaches will.
He's bored from theory, but I think, this is also part of the game, and you need to do it sometimes.
And this is actually, I think maybe I'm in the minority here, because plenty of coaches will do more theory-oriented videos where they discuss some concept. They are looking at a solver and explaining, why this solver is doing what it's doing. I find it hard to absorb concepts when I learn that way. I prefer to learn through somebody who's kind of communicating in a, I don't want to say more practical way, because learning from a solver is practical. And you need to study. If you're going to be an elite poker player, you need to study with the best tools there are.
True.
But I like to see somebody who is making decisions on the fly, and it's okay if they are wrong in the decisions that they make on the fly, because we're all going to be wrong sometimes. But I like to learn the kind of human logic, I guess, rather than solver logic. So that's just me. But if you're picking the right...
he said it's just him, but I love working with the solver. Trying to look into hand categories and try to get a sense how these should be played. And this can help you a lot at the table. And if you just look into specific hands all the time, you will not get a general idea what to do. And for this, you actually also don't need a coach. You can just do it yourself and grind a bit with the solver.
Coach, you're going to want them to tell you how your coaching should look. A lot of times, it's been a long time since I've coached with any kind of regularity. I'd done some one-off things very briefly in recent years, but it's been a really long time. But when people way back when would ask me to coach, they would want they would want to send me hand histories that they had questions on, or they would want to me to review their stats, which actually is a pretty good way to coach. But you don't want to be the one directing what you're learning. You want the coach to look at your play as a whole. So whether it's review a session of yours,
I think it's probably a mix of both. So things the coach thinks needs to be done, and also stuff the player wants to do. I mean, if you force a more practical guy to just do theory, he probably does not get enough from that. So you have to mix in practical examples as well. But yeah, so it needs to be customized to the one who's coach as well. So the coach cannot say we do that, and then it has to be that way, because this will just not work if people are not wired in this way.
Your hand histories, look at your stats, and tell you where you need to work and where they need to teach you. Because if you're just sending hands that you have questions on, first of all, those are generally going to be hands that are pretty close, right? The hands that we contemplate the most after the fact and wonder if we were right or wrong, by definition, those are usually the ones, at least in our own mind, that were really close between two decisions. And if in reality they were close between two decisions, that means whichever one you chose, you didn't lose much expected value. So if you're sending your coach hands like that, but not sending them, I just check folded flop with this hand, that should never check fold.
Yeah, I think it's definitely very helpful to send them like your complete database, that he can look into your stats and all that, and he might find leaks which you never thought about. Oh, I think got a commentary. I can't see it because I'm standing in the way. The mic is blocking it. Yeah, I say hi as well. Good to see you. Long time no talk. So we could do it this way, and then we can also read the chat. Sorry for that, guys.
But you don't know that it should never check fold, so they're not going to get to see that. You're not going to learn what you need to learn, where you might be making big mistakes. So if you do get a coach, make sure they're seeing your game as a whole, or at least kind of a random sampling of your game, which, if you send them a 30-minute session of you playing, that's what that is, so that they can spot the areas where you can gain the most value the most quickly. My point with that is, don't just go to any coach and say, I want to learn this way. You can tell them, how you learn best, how you think you learn best. But with a good coach, you kind of do have to leave a lot in their hands for them to point out what you need to work on and how. So verify results, training video makers, make good candidates. There are also stables. People where.
By the way, OMFG, what do you think about coaches? Did you ever get coaching, and was it expensive and was it helpful? Let me know. I just have very limited experiences with coaches myself, so maybe I'm not the best guy to talk about the topic. But yeah, I never got a coach who did the things Phil Galfond is mentioning. I just had one who was doing a lot of data analysis. This was back in the day where there was no solver yet. And you had to figure out the best way to play the game on your own. And he did this by comparing sets of a lot of winning regulars, and then try to figure out the best strategy in the game. And this was quite close to the results a solver nowadays has. So he did a great job, and this is very data intensive, time intensive. And I paid him to do that so that I don't have to do it. So my time was worth more playing at the tables and just getting the results of him. So I think that's the only time you should get a coach. Then I think you should figure things out on your own most of the time, because that's way more valuable, and you will also learn better, and this will go into your deep memory and you will not forget the next day. If you just have a coach who tells you this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, you will forget most of the stuff just immediately, and it will not be that helpful. But if you figured it out on yourself, by looking into hands, by looking into solvers and stuff, this will you will learn and you will improve. So I'm not a big advocate for coaches. I mean, although I'm like sort of in the market of poker coaching and poker school and poker content, I think you in most cases, you should not pay a dude to do that. Just do it if this actually saves you money. For example, you are not technique affine at all, and you cannot figure out how the solver works. And you get someone who shows you the basics and some advanced things so that you can work. And this just took you with the coach like 1 hour, while you would have taken 5 hours on your own. And then you have to put this in comparison. Like, okay, I saved 4 hours, and these 4 hours could be used for playing, and I earn way more in these 4 hours when the coach is, when the coach is costing. So this is a good deal. But most of the time, I think it's not a good deal to get a coach, because if you start learning on your own, figuring things out on your own, it's more beneficial. You will learn more and better. So yeah, always do your own research. It's like an investment. Do your own research, and just get people helping you when you can't, when you are plateauing or something, when you can't get better or understand the things on your own. But in general, first try to figure it out on your own, and then get help if this is not enough.
Groups of coaches, that's specifically, they're kind of in an organization that coaches and sometimes stakes players. You could look to them. In all these cases, you should look for kind of
trying to read the comment. Okay, I think coaching can help, but I believe more in coaching for specific spots of areas in the game. Yeah, I don't believe in coaches that much at all, as already mentioned. But yeah, if you get it's more for like the lazy people who don't want to work themselves and have someone to do it. It's like, I am not willing to clean my house. That's why I get someone to do it for me. And that's also the same with coaching, sort of. Although, if you would do if you would coach yourself, you probably would learn more and progress faster than getting a coach in most cases. Is at least my opinion on that. But yeah, I also know a lot of people that are not motivated, but just want to play, and they also enjoy the social interaction. So that could also be when a coach is helping. And I never had a coach for mental things, to be honest. And I think in this area, it might be beneficial. I mean, I don't tilt much or at all. And so that's easy for me. But I heard a lot of people that think that it's very helpful to get mental coaches. So this might be actually an area where coaching makes sense. Yeah, okay, true. You don't necessarily need a coach if you want to figure out stuff. Yeah, but I think the problem with that is often when you have like a study group, everyone is holding back because they want to have the great things they figured out for themselves. And if everyone in the coaching team thinks about, in this group thinks this way, then it's like a moral hazard, and nobody gives anything away anymore, or only like very stuff that it's known by anyone anywhere. So it's not beneficiary for anyone at all. Or it's also like a free rider problem. If one guy does a lot of work and one guy is just lazy, and this will also then also the group is not working well. And I think things like that happen a lot. So I was in a lot of coaching and not coaching, like studying groups, and this also was never beneficial to me, at least, because people were less lazy or wanted to do more or didn't share all their secrets, and then it's pointless, and that happens all the time. But I think what could be very helpful is if you have like a study group. And you say like, okay, I want to figure out how exactly I should play, let's say, double pairs in PLO, how I want to play aces, how I want to play kings. And when you have a group of players, you can give like one category to one guy and the next category to another guy. And later you share results, explain the things, share all the resources you have. And this way you can save a lot of time. But this also requires that everyone in the group does work of the same or close to the same quality. And if someone is lazy or is just scratching on the surface and not getting deep into it, then the results for one category would suck. So everybody needs to be engaged and willing to share and also to invest time. But yeah, this could be beneficial. And also, if one guy made a mistake, or there could be different opinions coming up, and you could also learn from that. And in the end, form something that is maybe better than what you would have figured out on your own. But yeah, in general, I think the need for coaching is way less nowadays, because you just got the solvers. You can just put in the hand and get a result that's very close to optimal if you're playing against good racks who not divide that much from optimal strategy. And yeah, why you need a coach for that anyways, I think. So coaching is more in the areas when the game is not that well developed yet. So like some mixed game stuff maybe, but PLO and No Limit Hold'em, I don't feel that there's that much need for a coach. But yeah, feel free to let me know your thoughts on that.
Referrals, or obviously, like, you go to a stable's website, they're going to have a testimonial saying, you know, these are my results after. And I mean, I think most are going to be true, but if you can find something more independent, I think that would be good. But a proven coach is like a proven track record in any way, both as a player and a coach, is really valuable. And then the other thing is, I would say, avoid making a big commitment up front. You can start with a coach, and you know, if you can do a couple hours of coaching, you can get a feel for if they're the right coach for you, if what they're saying makes sense, if you think you can trust their approach to the game and approach to coaching before you make a big commitment to them. I think that would be ideal.
Kelly Cameron wonders, how many bottles of water have you saved from going in the ocean so far?
Okay, I have to check.
What the fuck?
So I've saved 7,277 bottles of water from going in the ocean so far. Although in reality, I haven't really saved that many, because I could just be getting water out of the filtered tap in my kitchen, if not for this.
A totally unrelated, stupid question at the end. Okay. Yeah, I think he made some good points. We disagreed in some areas. Yeah, I am skeptical about coaching in general. Yeah, if you're more of a social guy, at best get a motivated study group, like we discussed before. And yeah, but there's also another thing. Players need to be on a equal or close to a same skill level. And if someone is way better or someone is way worse, then it doesn't work out that well. I mean, if someone needs to learn the basics and one guy is almost playing GTO, it's obviously not good to put these two in a study group. And I think even if you put together guys who play the same limits, it's not necessarily that they are also on the same level, because yeah, the skill gap can be enormous still. Yeah, I hope this was helpful. Yeah, let me know how you study the game. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all this good social media thing. Bye until next time.